Hi everyone, it's Helen here, your unit coordinator. I just wanted to personally welcome you all and say thanks for getting up on the boards and posting your welcome messages and your answers to the first week's activity as well. It's been fantastic to see some great discussion happening between students and also with the ELAs. As you will be more than aware that we've got our first collaborate sessions this week. We're going to do them a little bit differently this time round. We are going to do a bit of a live session where we're going to go through the learning activity plan and give you some really good information in regards to that. So the purpose of my video today is just to go through an overview of the learning activity plan and oral presentation, and to go through some of the basically bits and pieces that you need to know in regards to your first assessment. So I'm going to go through the assessment details, the rubric expectations, and your referencing and submission information. Hopefully you won't have to listen to me too long, but I will try my best to get everything across that I need to. So here's your assessment details. So basically you're going to be looking to use your spoken language skills to demonstrate your understanding of the early years learning framework and concepts you have learnt in weeks 1 to 3 of the unit. And your quiz will be part of this, and of course your quiz mark goes in towards all of this first assessment. So that's one part of it, and then your learning plan and your oral presentation is another part. Then that forms your mark for assessment 1. And there's your unit outcomes that this assessment relates to. You can see them there. And of course the assessment is worth 30%, so 10% for your learning plan and 20% for your oral presentation. And it's due 5 p.m. Australian Eastern Date Time, Monday, the 4th of December 2017, which is week 5, which is coming up very quickly. We do understand that you may need extensions. If you do, please let your ELA know early. Email them directly for 24 to 48 hour extensions. If you need longer than that or something arises in an emergency, please fill out an extension form in the student portal, and there's your link there. But you can certainly go into the student portal and it's very easy to see. Don't leave asking for extensions to the last minute. We'd rather know early and work through any issues you may have early so that we can get it sorted in regards to that. And here are your assessment details. So step 1 of your learning activity plan is 400 words and it's 10%. So you're going to be using that learning activity template there. Don't go off and make yourself a different one. Use that one. That's why we've put it there. That's the one that you need to be using. And you're basically filling in that learning activity template. You're going to be giving me a description of your activity. So nothing sort of like reading, why you're reading, what is the purpose of your activity. You need to be giving me a description in regards to what you're doing for your learning activity title and your age group. Now remember, you're using the EYLF, so the EYLF looks at birth to 5 years, so that's the age bracket that you need to be targeting your learning activity for this assessment at. So you need to give me a description of a practical language or literacy activity that you can use in an early childhood setting to support a child's oral language development in the Australian context. And that's 200 words. So you're going to let me know how you're going to introduce the activity, what are you going to do in the activity to involve the children to support their language, and how you're going to conclude the activity. Your resources and prompts there needed to be included, and you can use images there, and how you're going to relate your activity to the EYLF. So what outcomes does it relate to basically? And your reference list. Now your reference list needs to incorporate your references for your learning plan and any other ones that you may put in when you're speaking in your oral presentation as well. So remember, your learning activity plans do not need to include an introduction or conclusion, and you are able to use bullet points and images. So just keep that in mind. You don't have a lot of words. I did this as our exemplars for our live collaborate sessions, and I found that you will need to use bullet points and you will need to be very succinct in what you're doing, and then you can expand on this in your oral presentation. And here's our learning activity plan here. There it is. You can fill it in. Very easy to do. You've got your name, your URL. Make sure you've got that for your ELA to access, your age group, your concepts, and what you're going to do in your learning activity there. It is only 200 words there, so you cannot go on and on and on. It will need to be very succinct, and I would really recommend you use headings and bullet points there. Then you're going to tell me what your focus concepts are. So you're going to identify and describe relevant key concepts of language and literacy that are the focus of your learning activity plan. So that's where you will be defining some of those key concepts. So if you're looking at semantics, what is semantics? What is it? How does it relate to oral language development? And there's your learning activity there. So you're going to give me a description there of your learning activity. And again, that's only 200 words as well. And then you've got your resource and prompts and your curriculum connections down the bottom there. So they're really important. And again, those two are only 50 words. So it's actually not a lot of words there that you're going to be using. And then down the bottom there of that other one, it's probably been a bit chopped off, is your references as well. You'll see it when you go into your template. So make sure that you include your references. Step 2 is your oral presentation. So this is worth 20%, and this is where you're expanding more on your learning activity plan. This is where you'll use your introduction and your conclusion. So you're going to be giving me an overview of what you're going to be talking about, and your title, your age group, etc. You're going to describe the key concepts, and you're going to basically really expand on what you've spoken about in your learning activity plan, because that is really quite brief. And remember that your audience is a child's parents, so your presentation shouldn't be pitched at a really high academic level, or it shouldn't be overly simplified either. So just remember that when you are doing your presentation. So your oral presentation will be produced using SoundCloud. So this is an online system designed for sharing audio files. Now, since we have put this information out, SoundCloud has changed a little bit. So you could previously, and I've got it there, you could record directly onto SoundCloud, but you cannot do that now. You will actually have to use another outlet to record and then upload to SoundCloud. Now, we will share some of those with you on either Tuesday or Thursday, but there are lots out there, and it's really easy. I was able to do it fairly easily, so just be aware that you cannot directly record onto SoundCloud now, but you can easily upload to SoundCloud. But you will need your SoundCloud account, so make sure you get that up and ready really early so that you're ready to go. And there are so many resources in the student portal. They're all there, so you can click on them and have a look in regards to that. This is all from the assessment details criteria in our assessments tab, so you can go in there and have a look. It shows you exactly what to be doing. Now, if you've got any concerns about the technical aspects of the task, please communicate them to your ELA as early as possible, and they can help you sort them out. The student advisors are fantastic people. They are really skilled in learning and knowing about SoundCloud, so please don't feel hesitant about contacting them, because they can really help you out, and I know they've helped out lots of students in the past in regards to SoundCloud. So that should be we should really be having a look at SoundCloud now and becoming familiar with it, so you know what you're up for. And here is our additional resources. So your resources are in your readings from weeks 1 to 3, and you're needing to be looking at our collaborative sessions, so this one and also our live ones. We understand that you can't always make the live sessions, but please listen to the recordings. You need to upload to SoundCloud, and you need to make sure that you're using that learning activity template for submission. And if you've got any questions, please put them up on the discussion board in the Assessment 1 question and answer forum, because this is a really good opportunity for you to be sharing knowledge with your other group members, and for your ELA to be answering questions that others might be thinking but haven't been able to put up on the discussion board or have felt hesitant about. There are no silly questions. We are here to help, and we would rather you ask as many questions as possible so that you get it right the first time. This is what we're here for, to help you, so please take the help. Don't ever feel hesitant about that. Please post anything that you're worried about or concerns up on your discussion board, and we will do our very best to help you as much as we can. Now, there's some additional resources that you can use. So there's a referencing guide also there, and there's some assignment support links there that you can have a look at in your own time. So when you are doing your lesson plan, make sure you're reading it aloud to check that it makes sense and it's going to be understood by your ELA. Use your rubric as a checklist to ensure that you have covered everything, and make sure that you proofread your work because poor grammar and typos detract from the quality of your work, and make sure that you acknowledge all sources used to develop your ideas, both throughout your assessment task and in the reference list at the end. Citing references adds strength to your discussion and avoids plagiarism, which I'm going to talk about in a little bit. And please use credible sources, so not Wikipedia. Look at the resources that your ELA is going to be providing on the discussion boards. Remember that your readings directly relate to this assessment. Follow these and you really can't go wrong. And weeks 1 to 3 directly relate to this assessment. And remember to use your e-text. Sometimes this gets overlooked because this is a really valuable resource. When we're talking about referencing, I know that a lot of first year students get a little bit concerned about this. Remember that your learning plan will need to be properly referenced, and in-text citations need to be properly referenced as well. And you're using APA referencing style. When you're speaking in your SoundCloud presentation, you'll need to be orally referencing as well. So if you're using something from Hill, then you would say Hill 2012. Okay, so it's fairly easy to do that, but again, we will be talking a bit more about that in our live sessions. Make sure you are writing in third person, you are allowed to use bullet points, you're allowed to use headings, but remember you're using professional language and you're going to be presenting it as an academic piece of work, and you're going to be using supporting references with your APA style and guidelines, and you're going to be providing a reference list, not a bibliography. And again, your Swinburne Library has got lots of resources in regards to that, and your reference list section goes on to your learning plan there. Again, any questions, please pop them on the discussion board and we will answer them as much as we can. So what is plagiarism? Plagiarism is when you are presenting work created by someone else as your own and it's considered cheating. The work can be is covered by copyright laws, but plagiarism also covers work done by colleagues as well as published work. So really, basically, you want to be citing people's work if you're using it. As an ELA, we can tell if you are copying directly. Try and paraphrase information that you are using. Because this really shows that you are starting to get a grip on APA as well. Now, it is hard to get a hold of it early on, and we know that a lot of you are first years, so please don't be too worried. There is a little bit of leeway in regards to that. And there's lots of information on the student portal as well. And here's our rubric expectations. So make sure you pay attention to the rubric, use it as your marking criteria, you're told where your marks are, and your grade should not come as a shock. So make sure you've covered all the information, you've done the right thing with the information, and you've excluded any relevant information, and you've paid enough attention to referencing and other aspects that might be worth a lot of marks. Now, when we're marking your learning plan, we are going to be using a holistic rubric, so you need to be making all of those descriptors before you can move on to the next. And there's our descriptors there. So basically in our pass, you need to make sure that you have covered all of that before you can move on to our credit. And I've highlighted some words there that are just slightly different that are going to get you into that credit level. And you can have a look in your own time again in regards to this rubric expectations. Now, your oral presentation is a little bit different. We are going to be using this scale, so 1 to 5 points for 2 criterion, and again you can see your criterion there down the side in regards to what you'll be marked on when you're presenting your SoundCloud presentation. So there are 2 criterion in regards to that. There's the other one there. Submission information. It's going to be submitted via Canvas, and a lot of this information is on your assessment page, so make sure that you're looking at that, and make sure you're familiarising yourself with this and using your concepts and readings for weeks 1 to 3. Don't forget your ELAs are able to provide discipline-specific content advice. You can access your tutor, but they will only give you academic feedback. They're not going to give you specific feedback in regards to rubric expectations, but they will give you information in regards to spelling, grammar, structure, APA referencing, so please use them if you need to. Remember, there are penalties for late assessments, so please, if you have got any problems, please contact your ELA early. I can't stress that early enough. We'd rather know what the issue is and work through it with you before it gets to 5 days and you're not going to receive anything for this assessment. So finally, thank you for attending. We can't wait to host you at our live Collaborate sessions on either the 14th or the 16th of November at 8 p.m. Australian Eastern Date Time. If you've got questions, pop them up on your discussion boards and we can start the discussion early. But we can't wait to see you on either Tuesday or Thursday night. And best wishes. Thank you. Bye.